The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
Waking humanity, one soul at a time. This is the World You Don't Know radio show with your host, Nick O'Connell.
Now, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're very welcome along to this week's edition of The World You Don't Know with myself, Mick O'Connell, and I've got probably a couple of guests coming on. Now, I do have Alan from OIM coming on immediately, but I am also hoping to have the wonderful Mark Devlin, English DJ and expert on the occult hidden meanings of the music industry and the film industry as well. He delves into that quite a bit too. I can't get Mark on Skype at the moment, although I was speaking to him earlier on today via Messenger on Facebook, and he has actually agreed to come on to the show. But as I said, he's a very busy man now. He did say the other day that he was going to come on, but he is very busy. Anyway, I do have Alan waiting in the wings. So good evening, Alan. How are you?
Hi, Mick. How are you doing? You okay?
Absolutely brilliant. Listen, it's great to have you on the show again. It's been quite a long time.
It's been a while. You've obviously been very busy. Well, both of us have been, so
I have,
it's understandable.
I've a new baby now at home as well, as I'm sure you well know. Started a new job as well, so there's lots of stuff going on, I suppose, for yourself as well, Alan, you know. But what I'm going to talk to you mostly about tonight, Alan, we'll do a catch-up as well on everything that's going on. But you are appearing next month, in the next few weeks actually, down in Waterford at the Open Minds Conference, the Open Minds 2, Open Minds Ireland. That's the big event that was put on last year, folks, by the great people down at the Awaken Awareness South East Ireland Facebook page. They've got a great group down there in the South East of Ireland, and they put on this conference in Dooley's Hotel. Last year was a great success. They had many speakers, including Alan and Steve, and this year it was meant to go ahead in March, but due to the mad storm we had, the snowstorms during the winter there, it unfortunately had to be cancelled. But it is back on in November. I think it's the 3rd, 4th and 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Alan?
It's the 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Oh, the 2nd, 3rd and 4th. I stand corrected. The 2nd, 3rd and 4th of November, folks. And that's in Dooley's Hotel in Waterford. Alan, you're going to be going down talking about the fluid belief system, I believe. Can you explain to me what that is?
Yeah, basically, when people wake up to what's going on, when they step outside the matrix, we all have done it, or most of us have done it, where we have this information in front of us and we want to tell everybody, our friends and our family and everybody else, look what's going on, this is what's going on, you don't know about this. And you're trying to educate people about what's going on and showing them the information, and they're not interested because you're obviously, what we do is try and push the information onto them. And everybody kind of does it when they wake up, and it doesn't work. Most of the time it doesn't work. So myself and Steve said, right, okay, there must be a better way to do this. So we start analyzing and researching, and I've got a kind of background in psychology anyway, so we combined our knowledge over the years doing radio shows and mixed it all in. And what we realized is that we wanted to approach this by waking people up from a psychological point of view. So it doesn't really matter about whether the moon is made of cheese or not, because that's just the content. Forget about the content. What you have to do is basically find out if the person you're going to be speaking to, whether they have an open mind and whether their belief system is fluid. In other words, they're willing to change what they believe if new information comes in which challenges what they believe.
Isn't that one of the biggest problems that we face, like in this community, in the truth community, if you want to call it that? I mean, I've come across people where you're telling them something that like does happen to be true, but because they've got a different belief system, cognitive dissonance kicks in, and they like sometimes they will even violently oppose you if you piss them off enough.
Yeah, because most people see things as either true or false.
Yeah.
And there's a grey area there. And Aristotle said the mark of an educated mind is to entertain the thought without accepting it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't or don't seem to have the ability to entertain it and go, okay, that's interesting. Can you show me some evidence that backs up what you're saying?
Yeah.
And if the evidence is proven, then I'm happy to change my belief system. But for some people, because they've been so programmed throughout their life, And that's what it is. This has nothing got to do with intelligence. So a lot of people make the mistake and go, "Oh, these people are sheeple and they're not intelligent." It's nothing got to do with intelligence.
I don't like that term myself, where you slag other people off because they don't know what's going on. You know.
Yeah. It's perception. It's what you're being brought up in. You know, the brainwashing by your friends and family, your teachers, as you're brought up and as you grow up, and that forms a belief system. And for some people, they're locked in that belief system because they've been indoctrinated for years and years and years to believe that. So when somebody challenges that, they're obviously going to defend it. And what people have to realize is that, well, you know, most of history, what we're being told, is a lie. You know, I'm sorry to say, it's a lie. So, but also people who are stuck in the belief system, as you said, make cognitive dissonance, because people don't want to change what they believe as well, because it could have a massive effect on their life and how they perceive life. And they'd rather stay in ignorance rather than find out more and find out what's going on. And as we always say, you don't start learning until you start challenging what you know, your belief system, and you step aside your comfort zone. And a lot of people are not willing to do that.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
What do you think has to happen in someone's life for this new belief system to be triggered in them? Like, do you think some people have to go through some sort of a traumatic event or something like that?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly where
I mean,
we're going.
For me, and I'll admit this on radio, I had a nervous breakdown a good 15, 20 years ago now, maybe not even that long ago. It was around 2002, there or thereabouts. And I had a nervous breakdown. I don't know what else to call it. I just lost all grip on life, so to speak. You know, I didn't want to be here and all this sort of crap. But it woke me up. It really did wake me up. Because prior to that, I was one of these sitting at home watching EastEnders. And I mean, I wouldn't go to work. I used to work in a furniture factory, and I worked at night. And I wouldn't go to work unless, and I was a master of Video Plus. I remember Video Plus on the VHS. I was an absolute master of setting that up. And I'd record EastEnders and Coronation Street and all these crappy soaps. You know, now I couldn't. I can't avoid watching them. I mean, don't get me wrong. My partner, she likes to watch EastEnders and that, and I have no problem with that. People watch it, but she doesn't get dug into it the way some other people tend to look at it. You know, but
that's it, exactly.
Now I can't stomach watching the likes of that stuff. You know.
Yeah, no, I don't watch much TV, and if I do watch TV, it's either car repair shows or comedy.
Yeah,
you know, that's that. Or I'm learning something. I'm you know, learning something about.
I'm the same. Only Fools and Horses or Wheeler Dealers. It's one or the other for me. You know.
That's exactly, a wheeler deal is brilliant. Now the whole idea of how people wake up or why they wake up. Well, as you said, you know, if you're in harmony with your life, right? You don't want to change anything. Why would you want to change if you're in harmony?
Why would you?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you? And to change takes energy. And people don't like using energy, because it's been proven human beings don't like using energy unless we really have to. All right. So something has to happen in your life to deharmonize your life, to kind of wake you up. And a lot of time that could be a death in the family, or it could be illness, or it could be a breakdown as you had. It could be a number of things. And if you speak to a lot of people that have woken up, when you ask them what was the catalyst that woke you up, they will tell you that it was something that happened in their life that kind of got them to question the system.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, most people are like that. And it could be not just them being ill, it could be a family member or whatever. But if people are in harmony, then they won't wake up because they're in harmony. It seems to be a catalyst. Something needs to trigger them in their life to actually get them to step outside the matrix. So that's really most of the time that's what the situation is.
It tends to be something traumatic, and I think that's the same for most people, Al. That they'd have to go through a traumatic event for them to wake up. Otherwise, they'll just stay what most people would call asleep and just go along to get along.
Exactly. If you got 100 people in the room and asked them put their hand up and said, you know, how many people here had some kind of traumatic incident either with yourselves or in your life or in your family or something that actually got you to wake up, I bet you'd find a lot of people putting their hands up. And because that's the catalyst. Otherwise, on a day-to-day thing, you know, watching TV and doing your day-to-day work and all that kind of stuff, if you're kind of cocooned and shaded away from the things that are going on outside the matrix, then chances are you're not going to wake up, because, you know, you're just watching soaps and all that kind of stuff, and you're not, you know, it's not registering. So it tends to be something that triggers you. that's outside the matrix. And it could be a number of things, but yeah, that's generally the consensus.
Yeah. But, you know, I've seen a great awakening in this country over the last 10 to 15 years, and a massive awakening. I can remember, like, back in, you know, 2008, 2009, just after the crash. And, you know, I remember having discussions with people saying, you know, this is all a conspiracy. The banks are, you know, behind this. This is all engineered. This was all planned. You know, everybody getting 100% mortgages and all that. It was a massive asset grab. As you know, Al, like, mortgages only come into existence once somebody signs them. It doesn't exist prior to that. The money wise. So, you know, they're creating money out in air, but they're taking back genuine properties, you know, bricks and mortar properties and land and, you know, everything else that goes with that. And I remember telling people, like, back then, you know, this was all, you know, orchestrated and engineered 20, 30 years ago. And people looking at me and saying, you know, you're off your bloody head, mate, you're crazy. You know, but now it's those same people I see nowadays are coming back to me now and saying, Jesus, Mick, you were right.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, one of the books that helped wake me up was David Icke's The Biggest Secret. And in the book, David talks about the digital currencies and the cashless societies. And that was I read that in 2001. And what's happening now? We have cryptocurrencies, and they're trying to remove cash from people and have everything digitized.
Where do you see that at the moment? I remember we spoke about this like many years ago on the radio, Alan, about the cashless society. And at that time, you know, we didn't have the ability to walk into a shop and tap. We didn't have the ability to go to a drive-thru and pay with your phone. Now you do. So we are like, you know, we didn't see we knew it was coming down the line all right, but we couldn't see the incremental movements towards the cashless society. But since we started speaking about that, I've seen two. You know, i.e. we can tap with our cards or you can tap with your phone.
Yeah, it's the totalitarian tiptoe, as David Icke calls it, and it's done bit by bit, because people don't notice it when it's done that way, and that's where it's going now. The same with the microchipping. I mean, we're seeing more and more people, and companies implementing microchipping for staff, and people just saying, well, I prefer to carry my money in my hand and not physically carry a wallet. So if I go to a nightclub, I can just wave my hand and it credits my you know, takes the money from my hand, from the microchip in my hand, for drinks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it is getting a bit mad, but it's you have to remember that, you know, we have a yin and a yang that's going on at the moment, and there are good people, white hats or good guys, whatever you want to call them, and they are working to bring down the deep state. And you know, the intel that we get is that there's just not one deep state. There's actually 5 factions. And the 5 factions are fighting against each other. And that's what's going on at the moment. That's why you're seeing one faction exposing another faction and the stuff coming out in the media. Now,
I've seen this in America the other day now with this this guy Kavanaugh. I mean, they can't spell Kavanaugh in America properly. Yeah. But this guy Kavanaugh, and I'm going to say Kavanaugh because that's what it should be. But anyway, he gets nominated by Donald Trump as the next Supreme Court Justice, and all of a sudden then there's this big sex scandal going back in the past, and they put him through the ringer. But no, he's gotten through with the skin of his teeth. When I seen this attack by the Democrats on him, I seen this as one faction, as you just named there, 5 different factions. I seen this as one faction having a pop or another, and one coming out on top.
Yeah, the kind of what's being said about this and what's happening and why the Democrats, or not so much the Democrats, but the deep state are attacking Kavanaugh is because Donald Trump wants to instigate what you call it, what's the word I'm looking for? Martial law. He wants to on a temporary basis because martial law gives him the authority to
start arresting people.
Arrest certain people.
Now, have you heard about these something like 45, 50,000 sealed indictments against like all the top elites? Did you place any stock in that rumour at all that that's actually going on? And I'm wondering, has Donald Trump put this guy into the Supreme Court to aid this process?
Well, I'll explain what I've heard is going on. Basically, what happens is Kavanaugh is going to help Donald Trump instigate martial law. So Kavanaugh needs to get in as a judge. Now, the deep state, after what happened to John McCain, do you know what happened to John McCain? Do you want me to explain what happened?
Did he pass away recently?
Well, no, he got executed.
Well, go on, tell me that. I mean, the mainstream media said he passed away from whatever it was he passed away from.
Yeah, no,
I didn't follow the story too much. I have very little interest in that man. I've never liked him, you know, never liked the look of him.
Well, no.
He
Well,
looks evil.
this is why the deep state, and this is why America and the deep state and all these people are going mad trying to stop Kavanagh getting in, because basically what happened was John McCain was done for treason and human trafficking, child trafficking, right? And basically they said to him, look, we're going to execute you, but you have two options. Option number one is that we're going to completely expose you for who you are in the general public, and people will know and your family will know and all that kind of stuff. Or option two is we're not going to expose you and the sake of your family, and we'll just tell the general public that you died of a brain tumor. But either way, you're going to have to sing. You're going to have to tell us what's going on. So he selected the latter, option number two, to protect his family. And so basically he sang like a canary, told them everything they needed to know, and basically they executed them for treason and for child trafficking.
But do you think there's any truth in that story?
Well, one of the politicians, Democrat, I think he's a Democrat, I'm not too sure, actually said that on mainstream media there was a Freudian slip, and he came out, he said, when John McCain was executed, and there was
He's serious,
so, yeah.
Right, that's
so
a Freudian slip to end all Freudian slips, that one.
Yeah, so if you go on YouTube and have a look.
Right. Any idea of the guy's name, no?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't have the link.
I'll have a look for it.
Have a look at that on YouTube where he's talking, he's being interviewed, and he said when John McCain was executed, and he just obviously realised he made a mistake. So McCain's gone, and basically Trump needs Kavanagh to get in, and so they took your woman Ford, who's not even a doctor, and they did all the CIA training with her and got it to lie. The police have looked at the evidence and they said there's nothing here. I mean, she didn't know how she got there. She had one drink, didn't know how she got there, didn't know how she got home, but she had one drink.
One drink.
And then even their ex-boyfriend was saying, well, no, that didn't happen. So the police actually are not touching it because they said there's not enough evidence here. Sorry, it's all speculation.
There seems to be an awful lot of that, though, doesn't it, over the last couple of years? Like Kevin Spacey, for example. I'm not saying any of these people are innocents. Bill Cosby is another one. Harvey Weinstein is another one. I can't help thinking, do these people know stuff about the elite? And that's why you have these sex scandal smears thrown against them. Like Bill Cosby now, he's been given 10 years in prison. Man is in his 80s. I'm not saying Bill Cosby is innocent. I don't know. But what I am saying is, it seems fairly strange that these high-profile people all of a sudden have been exposed as sex pests or whatever else, and they're having the book thrown at them. And, you have the Me Too movement and all that was set up in America last year. We've been putting our hands up. So-and-so put his hand on my leg 50 years ago, and I'm still traumatised because of it. There seems to be an awful lot of that going on, and I can't help thinking, are the people that are having these allegations levelled against them people in a position to know things about other people?
Well, there's kind of two trains of thought with this. I'm not saying they're innocent. I don't know. But I have heard, the likes of Bill Cosby, I've heard that Bill Cosby tried to pitch for the business to buy one of the major TV channels over in the US.
Wasn't he trying to buy, your man Ted Turner, he was trying to buy that, wasn't he?
I think it was. I'm not too sure if Ted Turner was involved, but that would make sense if it was.
I think it was Ted Turner's media empire. I think that's what he was touching for. I remember reading something along the lines of that anyway. Could be wrong. I mean, I'd have to go away and have a look at that again just to be sure.
Yeah. And of course, Ted Turner is one of the elites.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, you just have to look at the kind of garbage his TV channels put out.
Yeah, and then obviously if Cosby was going to try and buy his network and then maybe come out and expose things, they didn't want that to happen, so they needed a scandal for Cosby, right? Now, Harvey Weinstein, I'm not saying he's innocent either, but also it just so happens that after 20 years of them knowing him doing that, he happened to be making a movie all about anti-vaccinations.
Oh, was he now?
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't aware of that. Now, that's puts a whole different slant on it now for me with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, one of the actors that came out who has a son that's been damaged by vaccines.
De Niro.
What's his name? Robert De Niro,
That's
yeah.
right,
So
yeah.
Robert De Niro and Weinstein were going to get together and actually produce a documentary or movie which was going to be anti-vaccine. And all of a sudden, Weinstein is exposed.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, really, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
there's always two sides to the story, and so I'm not saying Harvey Weinstein didn't have the casting couch for a lot of these actors.
Well, I'm sure
but
he
at
did.
the same time,
him being a big Hollywood producer, they're going to try it on. You've got these young girls coming into the industry, and You know, they're all starry-eyed and they want to make it in Hollywood, and you know, they've been told, and this goes back to the early days of Hollywood, as you just mentioned there, the casting couch. Well, listen, I get your part in the next movie, but you have to do A, B, and C. And, you know, most of them will agree to it just for that slice of fame.
I mean, the casting couch has been going for, God, since Hollywood has been gone. I mean, Hollywood is a cesspit of corruption and satanic and everything. So it doesn't surprise me that that's going on. And but it just so happens that they've known about Harvey Weinstein for 20 years. And just as he is planning to make a movie with Robert De Niro, which is anti-vaccine, bang, he's out on the media and he's exposed. Yeah, it's quite convenient, that.
Listen, Al, I want to go to a set of ads. I know this is a pre-record, folks, but it will be getting broadcast tomorrow night, and there will be ads. So I'm going to play the ads now. It just saves me having to edit them in later. So do you mind hanging on there for a couple of moments, Alan?
No problem.
And if you'd mute your mic, that'd be fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, folks, I'll be back in 2 minutes with Alan, and I'll talk to you all as soon as the ads are over, I suppose. Talk to you very soon, folks. Now, folks, you're very welcome back. Alan, are you still with me?
I am indeed, Nick, yeah.
Did you hear me little radio jingle there?
I didn't hear anything, I'm afraid.
Did you not? I'm going to play it again. See, can you hear this? Do you know have you ever heard of the conspiracy music guru, Flat Earth Man?
No, I haven't.
You should look him up on YouTube. He does some funny songs about Flat Earth and NASA and stuff like that. But he interviewed him months and months and months ago. We had a great laugh on the radio. But he made me a little jingle, so have a quick listen to this. It's a nice little jingle. Have a listen.
The whole world's a stage and you're in the audience, and everything you see on the stage is fraudulent. Hey,
I'm not hearing anything, Mick.
Can you not hear it now?
No.
Alright, well listen, what I'll do is I will forward it on to you and you can have a listen.
Okay, no problem.
I'll try and forward it on to you if I can. It's a good little jingle. It's a little country western jingle, but it sounds very funny. Anyway, we're getting back to what we were talking about there. The draining of the swamp, do you think that's actually going on over in Washington?
I'm not saying Trump is 100% on their side. There's 5 factions and they're all fighting against each other. And maybe Trump is in one of the factions. So although he is doing stuff in front of the public and draining the swamp in a way, I hope he's not draining the swamp for his faction, because he's very pally-pally with the Netanyahu over in Israel.
Right.
So there's a lot going on there. So I'm still kind of skeptical on that side. But there are a lot of things. I mean, he's building the wall and talking about, putting the U.S. troops on the wall, because that wall is not just about stopping people coming in. It's actually to stop human trafficking and sex trafficking.
I think the wall, if they do build that wall, just for argument's sake, you're talking 2,500 kilometres long, there or thereabouts, so maybe even longer than that. It might keep the Mexicans out, but it'll also keep the Americans in.
Well, it will from Mexico. I mean, they should bring the troops back from Europe, because what he's doing is he's realising the list of the amount of money that they're spending. I mean, basically, US is funding their enemy. And he said that on one of the Q quotes, that basically they're going to have to stop all that. So I think we're going to see big changes taking place. And now, watch carefully the deep state. Now, here's the one thing that was mentioned. There's a lot of talk about the financial reset. Is it going to happen? Is it not? Because there's still kind of yin and yang. There's deep state getting some bit. Sorry?
This cash reset, we've been hearing about that for years.
Yeah. Now, there's 3 dates being put out there for something going to happen in the banking system. And the 3 dates are the 15th of August, which is come and gone, the 10th of October, which is tomorrow, right, and the 11th of November, which is on a Sunday. Now, so what's going to happen? Well, if the banking system, we know the banks are trading insolvent. They've no money, all right? They're using mirrored accounts. Basically, so if the banking system goes down, which we were told by our whistleblowers to make sure you have money in your pocket and be prepared. Because if the banking system does go down and the ATMs are shut down, then basically what will happen is you won't be able to get your money out.
Yeah, I mean, if that does happen, what's people going to do for money?
Exactly, and it happened in Cyprus. Remember, for the week, people couldn't get their money out for a week, couldn't get their food, couldn't get their medications, and people just are so kind of, because it's never happened before in their life. They just they wouldn't accept it. Oh no, that's not going to happen, because they don't understand what's going on.
We've seen it there that in February, March there when we had the snowstorms. We seen the run on milk and bread, and it was pandemonium nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, if you had heroin, you'd trade it in for a loaf of Brennan's bread.
I mean, can you imagine? Though, can you imagine though if the ATMs did run out of money? People wouldn't know what to do. People don't know how to grow their own food. I mean, we've got people like Trevor Evers, who you had in your show the other night. I had Trevor on myself there a couple of weeks back. He has his little allotment. Now, and fair play to him. Like, he's learning how to grow his own food. But most people in this country wouldn't have a clue how to grow food.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't have a clue how to grow food.
Yeah, well, I tried it, and I was successful in growing carrots and onions. So I'm only a beginner. But what I'm doing is for next year, because it's too late now for the season. But what I want to do is I use my terracotta plastic pots, and I'm going to be hanging them on the back wall. And then basically I'll be just filling them up with different seeds and just experimenting and just seeing how I get on and have a practice with it. But definitely we need to be growing our own food, because the vegetables we're getting in the supermarkets today are lacking the nitric oxide, which used to be in our food. It's not now anymore. So we need to be looking at the pH balance in the soil and also growing our own. I mean, there's nothing better. In all honesty, when I grew my own carrots and I took them from the garden and I brought them in and I cut them up and we had them for dinner, the taste was so different.
Could you notice the difference? You could.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, I mean, I shop in, I won't mention the supermarket, but a big German supermarket, we'll say. And I've noticed that the vegetables that you buy in there, and even their own generic products, like their own breads and stuff like that, and like their sausages and other meats, they've got these Irish names of these companies that I've never heard of before.
Well, Mick,
and I think they're making up these Irish names and making these products somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you go into a proper vegetable shop, you'll smell everything. But when you walk into these supermarkets, you smell nothing.
No, you can't smell anything. There is no smell off any of the food.
Yeah.
And I've noticed with the vegetables, they don't last. Like, I remember if you bought a bag of potatoes 20 years ago, they would last for weeks. Now they're only lasting for days. It's like they're programmed to go off very quickly.
Yeah, well, it's probably part of how they grow them or the chemicals they use. Funny enough, I'm just finishing off, would you believe, a juice. I was juicing tonight, and the juice is beetroot, apple, lemon, and carrot. And apparently that's very powerful. It's very good for the body. It's very effective regarding cancer and various other symptoms. And I thought, well, I'd give it a go and give it a try and see what it tastes like. And it's not bad. It's not bad. But again, I'd love to be able to have them growing in the back garden.
But that's the thing, bring them in. About, like you were saying there, juicing, which is a great thing. Everybody should be juiced. No, I don't juice. I mean, I don't juice at all, and that's been honest with you. I eat the odd bit of fruit. I'm not, I'm one of those that, if there's no chocolate and fruit, there's no point eating it. That's sometimes my philosophy. But no, I am going to try and start. I'm 47 now, Alan. I've got a young little baby now in the house, and I should be thinking of my own general health as well to try and make myself a little bit fitter, a little bit healthier. But one thing I've noticed, if you want to eat organically, if you want to eat healthy, it's 10 times more expensive than it is to eat junk food.
I know, but
that's the problem. This is why people are eating junk food, because they can't afford to eat healthy.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's cheaper to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy, and I totally agree. But the thing is that you don't have to be eating vegetables every day. I mean, this 5 or 6 day thing.
I think that's a scandal. I think that's a myth. Yeah. That you need 6 bits of veg a day and 4 litres of water a day.
But here's the thing, and let's bring it more on a celestial level. We know that the energies of the planet are changing, and loads and loads of people are saying that they're feeling various symptoms, and there's loads of people have walked away from eating meat, and they've either become vegetarian or becoming vegan, and the food that they used to like, they just have gone off it. And to be honest with you, I'm getting a little bit like that now with certain foods, and a lot of people have stomach issues, IBS, food intolerances. And a lot of that is down to, and I've mentioned it before on the show, I have my own theory on this. I don't know how true it is, but basically as our vibration of our energy rises because of the energies hitting the planet, the processed food that we're eating is on a lower vibration, and it's not compatible with our body. and our body's having trouble digesting it and dealing with it.
Now, funny you
And
should say that. I mean, I have a sister, she literally only got out of hospital yesterday. She was in James's for 16 days with a condition called diverticulitis, which is a stomach disorder. You know, so...
And a lot of the time it's got to do with the food that we're eating. You know, so if you start, you know, going back, we had Bernadette Bowen on the show a few times, Bernadette, and her story is brilliant, and she'll tell you about juicing. Now, you know, I know people will argue the point, saying, oh, well, we don't need to eat meat. Well, actually, I think we still do need to eat meat. The problem is that the meat that we had years ago, in Adam and Eve's days, if we want to call it that, was so different to the meat that we're getting today. The meat we're getting today is you know, in comparison, is, you know, black and white.
Well, if you, I mean, you look at cattle. Like, I'll use America as an example. I don't know if it's used as much in this country, but you know, most cattle are injected with bovine growth hormones. You know, and God knows what other kind of chemicals and vaccines and anything else that is injected into animals, and we're ingesting whatever they ingest.
Exactly, and there's a DVD out there called The Corporation, and these actual investigators found out that they were pumping the cattle with so many chemicals to try and produce more and more milk, that when they were milking the cows, there was pus coming out of the teeth of the cow. And when they found out and got evidence of this, they went to their editor to actually do the story. And then the editor got a phone call from the manufacturer or the company who was doing it and said, if you put that story out, we're going to sue you. And basically it was buried. But if anybody wants to type in the DVD, or maybe it's on YouTube, it's called The Corporation, and it exposes not only about what goes on with the overuse of chemicals and hormones in animals, but also the suicide seeds that Monsanto wanted to do. So can you explain to the listeners
what suicide seeds are, just for anyone who doesn't know? I know exactly what you're talking about, but do you want a quick explanation for the listeners as to exactly what suicide seeds are?
Yeah, basically, when you grow a normal fruit, a fruit would have seeds, and you could reuse them seeds with the fruit, to plant more for the next year. But there's no money in the pharmaceutical companies or in the agro companies in that. So the idea is that they would genetically modify the fruit, that the fruit wouldn't actually grow any seeds. So you'd buy the seeds off the agricultural companies or companies like Monsanto, and the crop would grow, and then you would, you know, harvest the crop, but there'd be no seeds. So you had to go back and buy more seeds off Monsanto. So it's all a money-making scam to go back. So with the suicide seeds, basically they grow once and then that's it. It's job done.
They don't grow again, and that means that's because they've been genetically modified.
Yeah.
And you know, I think people should bear in mind, Alan. I mean, I read a story there recently about Monsanto that they were found guilty in America of causing cancer in some guy. I think he was a school caretaker who had been using Roundup weed killer for 20 odd years or something like that, and he was able to prove in a court that their product caused his cancer. So, you know, do you want to be buying your genetically modified food from companies like that? You know, if that's...
yeah.
You know, and they fought that case tooth and nail. They denied like any links with cancer and stuff like that, but I mean, the court's saying otherwise.
Exactly, and that's proven. That's set a precedent now, and people should know that Roundup is carcinogenic. It causes cancer, with the glyphosate, I think is the chemical name that's in it, which causes the problem. But if you go into a lot of these supermarkets and you go up and buy seedless grapes, guess what?
They're genetically
GMO,
modified.
because they're seedless.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, but how can it be GMO? Because they don't have any seeds. You know, I mean, grapes have seeds.
Naturally,
Fruit
they would
has
have
seeds.
them, wouldn't they? Yeah.
You know, and people say, oh, well, I like the convenience of being able to eat a grape without having to spit out the pips. Well, that's fine, but you're not getting the proper grapes.
Yeah, because they have been modified. They're not as nature intended.
No, of course not. And of course, if you look at any of the fish or the food that's GMO, I mean, it's been proven time and time again, GMO food is bad for you.
Yeah, I mean, how long have we had GMOs now? Probably maybe 30 years there or thereabouts, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You know, probably, so I mean, the long-term effects of GMOs on human society, I don't think have even been realised yet.
Well, this is it. They are doing tests, and they have done tests and research into it, and they have kind of confirmed. Now, I don't have any information in front of me, but they have confirmed that GMO is bad for you. So people have to be aware that when they go shopping, to watch out for, seedless, vegetables or seedless grapes or fruit or whatever. But the gas thing with the when you go into a supermarket and they have the health section, I mean, to be honest with you, the health section really isn't that healthy when you start looking at the ingredients, because some of the breads that are there and some biscuits and stuff like that, they're full of they're full of substitutes for what's missing. And so even the health section, you have to be careful.
So what can we do, Al? What is the answer to combat this? Because, I mean, if you look at the way supermarkets have gone over the last 40 to 50 years, they're not going to change. And if they do change, it's going to be a radical change. So what can we do to combat that? Grow your own food, I think. Is that the only solution?
What you have to do is grow your own food, and then if you need meat and stuff like that, you need to go to a local farmer's market or go to a local farmer who will actually will have the meat, and they can produce the meat there and then, maybe on their farm. I'm out in the country. I'm not in the city.
That was going to be my next question, Al. I know you're from the city, and you do live out in the sticks, as we like to call it up here in the big smoke. I mean, I don't know what options I would have in Dublin to lay my hands on some natural, unadulterated meat from a good farmer in Dublin. But what's the read down the country? How easy is it to access that kind of food down there?
It's actually easy, because down the road from me is a farmer's market, and down the road from me also is a chap that does his own his meat products. So if I went down there and spoke to them, I'm sure they'd be able to turn around and say, yeah, okay, tell me what you want, we'd be able to sort it out. And that's the great thing with the country. But here's another very, very important thing that your listeners should do. Now, the trouble is, you're in the city, so it's going to be harder for you guys. But for people living out in the sticks or out in the country, and it's something that I'm going to do, I need to speak to a local neighbour who'd be more aware of this. But it was David DeBoyne who we had on the show, and he said people should go and find out what is available locally, basically in your local 10-mile radius of your house. What's growing wild that you can use and you can eat? Because if the ATMs close down and you've no money, and people are going to be, I think I told you before about the National Geographic did the documentary called American Blackout, and they did the what if scenario. What if you lost power for 10 days? And the first day, the neighbours are getting together and having a barbecue and cooking the stuff from the freezer. And the third day, they're killing each other for a tin of beans. Now, cannibalism kicks in after 7 days. So
that quick.
People need to know what's around them. So as I'm out in the sticks, I'm going to be speaking to a local neighbour who, she makes wine out of elderberry and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to touch base with her and go, okay, let's drive around and see what's available. Nettle soup, maybe. I don't know. So I'm not that way inclined, but I know she would know this because her background is Scotland in the Outer Hebrides, where she grew up doing this stuff.
Right.
So I want to learn what's available locally, because if something happens, whether it's a coronal mass ejection, the Carrington effect, 1859, where all power would be blown out, or enough, depending on where, what side we're facing the sun. It depends on if the Earth is rotating, and if we're facing the sun, we're stuffed. Or it could be an EMP. You don't know. So the more you're prepared, the more you're self-sufficient, the more you're ready, the less stress you're going to get, because you'll be organised in your mind what you're going to do.
But see, when I agree with 100% with everything you just said there. It's I'll quote something you've said many a time. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it at all.
Correct.
And you've said that many times. And I think it's a great philosophy that, fill up your shed with bloody tin foods. Even if you don't ever use it, so what? Spend a couple of £100 on stuff if you can. Because as you said, Al, if the proverbial shit hit the fan tomorrow and the ATM stopped spewing out money and there was no food in the shops, we'd have chaos within 3 or 4 days.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare. I mean, all you have to do is sit down for a few minutes and say, what if tomorrow I got up in the morning and there was no power and the banks were closed down? What would I do? That's the way you have to get it into your mind. What would I do? What would happen? And then you realize that you're not prepared. I mean, I'll give you an example. Myself and Steve have solar generators. Yeah. And basically what we do is that when there's a power cut, we can put the solar generator onto our mains power in our house, and we can have backup power just for a short period, just for a few hours, but it's good enough to get us by, and we can watch TV, we can have the lights on and everything else. Now, I charged up my batteries because we don't have them set up on solar panels at the moment for charging. So I use a car charger just to charge up the batteries. But I left it a bit too long. And unfortunately, what happens is with inverters is that if there's not enough power in the battery, then they won't switch on. It's a fail-safe mechanism. Right. So I went to switch on the battery and they didn't work. Now, it wasn't too much of a problem. Because obviously it was only down for the Thursday and Friday, and then it came back up. But Steve had his charge. Funny enough, he just finished charging his, and he said it was brilliant because the whole neighborhood was in darkness
except him,
and his lights were on and they were watching TV and everything else. But at the same time, you have to be careful of that, because if it is going to be 6 months of no power, and people know that you have a certain amount of power,
you're going to be a target.
You wouldn't want to be advertising it too much.
No, true enough. Listen, I want to go to one more set of ads. They're less than 30 seconds long, so if you'd mute your mic there just for half a minute, and we'll be back shortly. Folks, we'll be back very, very shortly with Alan James from Open Your Mind Radio. Talk to you very soon.
You're listening to Liffey. www.liffysoundfm.ie. Listen online. Community radio at its best.
Yeah, well, you still with me here?
I am, Mike.
That's grand, Alan. Thanks very much. Now, folks, that's the last set of ads. They were only less than half a minute there, anyway. So we have about, I'll tell you now exactly how long we have left, Alan. We probably have about 14 or 15 minutes left, folks. Now, Alan, as I said, but at the start of the show there, we were talking about the Open Minds Ireland Conference, and the fluid belief system is what you're going to be talking about. And what are you hoping people will get out of yours and Alan's hour up on that stage?
Well, the idea, it's not going to be comprehensive because we only have an hour, and there's loads of rabbit holes you can go down with different parts of the subject matter that we talk about. But what I want to give, and what me and Steve want to give people, are the tools that if they do want to wake people up, give them the tools of how to do it. Because, unfortunately, I've been to a few of these conferences, and there's some speakers that will get on stage and go, here's all the problems, and then goodbye, and then walk off stage. And people are sitting there going, but all you've done is given us loads of problems. Where's the solutions? So myself and Steve, we're going to talk about the problem, but we're also going to give people the solution and the tools of if they want to wake people up. And this is tried and tested. We've tested this over and over again with people. But also your listeners have to remember that there are some people like your Auntie Joe or your Uncle Joe and your Auntie Maisie, whatever, who should never be woken up.
No, I that's something I just want to reiterate to you that I actually had this morning. I was in a barber shop this morning getting the hair done, and there was an elderly man there. It was the budget that was brought up first, and we were saying, the Fine Gael of this and they're wrecking the country and blah blah blah, and a big conversation and shit. And I could have gone down a route where I would have been giving them information that was completely new to them, but I decided not to, because I said, I always start telling this old man about, the New World Order and stuff like that. It'd probably scare the crap out of him,
Well, the thing is, this is one of the things that we're going to be talking about. When people when they first step outside the matrix and wake up, right? And they might wake up, it might be got to do with maybe the vaccines, maybe got to do with cancer, maybe got to do with the water meters or smart meters. You don't want to go to them and say to them, by the way, you've just woken up, so I'm going to tell you all about the deep state, the New World Order. They'll just think you're nuts, because it's bad enough trying to wake people up who are in the matrix, but it's even worse when people think they're woken up, but they're not really woken up because they're only learning.
Say if it's your Uncle Joe or your Auntie Maisie, as you just mentioned there a couple of minutes ago, and they're in their 70s or 80s, would it be unfair to try and put them wide to what's really going on?
Yeah.
Or is it better just to leave them alone and just let them...
I in this lifetime, there are obviously, it's not right for them, and it's not ready for them. Maybe in the next lifetime, then they'll wake up to it. But at their age, if after 70 years of them doing what they're doing and being on the planet, if they haven't seen what's going on, chances are they're not going to see what's going on, and they're not going to be interested even if they are. So there are some people that you just say, well, okay, we're going to leave them alone. And
I'm reminded of all the amount of elderly people in this country and around the world as well who placed great stock and faith and trust in the Catholic Church, And then in the early 90s and up to now, we've had scandal after scandal after scandal and cover up after cover up after cover up. I was never religious, and I had never had an interest in the Catholic Church. I didn't buy into any of their teachings and stuff like that. Doesn't mean I don't believe in God. I've got my own beliefs. I didn't believe in their religion, and I'm don't get me wrong. There are some good aspects to it. You know, be kind to your neighbour and stuff like that. I get all of that, but I felt terribly sorry for elderly people who had all that faith in them, only to have it shattered overnight. You know, through no fault of their own either. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's plenty of elderly people out there who had their suspicions about priests, and through whatever they decided not to say anything. It was the society we lived in, I suppose. But like I said, I feel terrible sorry for them. And in that sense, it is cruel, I think, to wake people up if they're over a certain age, you know.
Definitely. Well, I was talking to a lady, funny enough, today, and it's a neighbour's mother I was talking to, and she's in her late 60s. And she said, and we were talking about this subject, and she said, years ago, you wouldn't have a problem going to a priest or a guard if there was an issue or problem. And, in the old days, 30, 40 years ago, she said, but these days you wouldn't even go near them. And I said, well, there you go. That's the way things have gone, unfortunately, that you wouldn't go near them. And it's frightening that that's the case. But a lot of people thought, before the Ryan report and everything else, that, oh yeah, priests were, the pillar of the community and everything else. And even with what's come out with the Ryan report and the likes of Jimmy Savile and all that, there's still people who still go to the church or believe that priests are genuine. Now, I'm not going to tar all priests. It's unfair to do that.
Of course it is.
There's always the bad apples in the barrel that ruin it for everybody else. But, at the end of the day, religion in itself, it's really man-made to control man. That's what it was set up to do, to divide and conquer. I mean, how many people were killed under the guise of the Christian
the Crusades
campaigns? So many people were killed, Christian Crusades and all that kind of stuff. So religion, for me, it was always man-made to control man. All religions, divide and conquer is the biggest game going. Divide and conquer, whether it's nationality, whether it's race, whether it's your color of your skin, it doesn't matter. That's the whole divide and conquer thing. That's what it is, and we have to stop falling for that. Now they're trying to do the whole LGBG whatever, and divide and conquer through that as well. It's just people need to wake up to it, but
No, I was reading. I read a report there today. Some guy in England, he had a bit of a hoo-ha with his local school. His daughter was sent home, I think 12 years of age, and she had some homework. And they were teaching the children religious studies in school, teaching about other religions like Islam and Judaism and Catholicism and Protestantism, Christianity, blah, blah, blah. All the different religions, Hinduism, everything else. But the exercise that the children were given was that they were to go home for the homework and they were to write a letter to their parents explaining why they wanted to convert to Islam. Now, it's one thing teaching children that all these other religions exist, despite alongside their own religion. I mean, we'll just say for argument's sake, the girl was a Catholic, and this was a homework exercise. As a Catholic, go home and write a letter to your parents stating that you want to convert to Islam or Judaism or any other religion for that matter. But her father refused to let her do it. Like, he was saying, what is the purpose of this? Why would you want a child to write a letter like that? It doesn't make sense. But he refused anyway, but there was a big hoo-ha about it.
Well, it makes sense if you know about Albert Pike and the whole 3 World Wars.
Explain.
Well, Albert Pike was a Zionist in the late 1800s. And it's not a case of he predicted, because this was planned, and they planned 3 world wars. We've had 2 of them. The 3rd World War was going to be against Muslims and Christians. What's happening in Europe? All the immigrants gone into Europe. Mm. So if you look at it from that point of view, then you can understand that there must be something behind it.
So do you think there's something, Brown, like that they are trying to?
Of course, but you've got kids, Mako. I've got a son in school, and he tells me about his curriculum, and I think, God, they're just learning rubbish that they'll never use again. It's just a complete waste of time. The whole curriculum, and the teachers are obviously brainwashed into churning out this crap, and that's what it is. It's crap to the kids. It's just ridiculous, and because we know history. you can't trust what we're told by history, because history is controlled by the people who control the money.
And history is written by the winners as well, I suppose, So
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
there's one guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of a British author called David Irving, have you?
No.
Well, look him up. I suggest you look him up. Now, he wrote the definitive biography on Adolf Hitler, the man who Adolf Hitler actually really was, and everything about his life and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to be sitting here singing the praises of Adolf Hitler, but absolutely not. I'm not. But David Irving, he wrote a book called The Destruction of Dresden back in the 60s, and it was a worldwide bestseller. And up to that point, no one outside of Germany had a clue what had happened in Dresden in 1944-45, I think it was, when the British and the Americans carpet bombed this city and killed over 120,000 people in the space of 4 hours. But we never really, you weren't taught that in the history books. But he wrote a book on that, and it was an international bestseller, and he was grand. He was the darling of the literary world, as he'll tell you in his own words. But then he wrote a book on Hitler, and that was it. The shit hit the fan for him, and he's been barred from most countries around the world, and he's been hounded, mostly by people who, shall we say, are of the Jewish faith. This is what he says. He's been accused of anti-Semitism and stuff like that. But and they call him a Holocaust denier as well. And he was sued in 2001, 2002 by an American journalist. No, sorry, he sued an American journalist called Deborah Lipstadt, a Jewish journalist who stated that David Irving was a Holocaust denier, which he's not. He never was. He never denied the Holocaust. He's never even written a book about the Holocaust, but she called him a Holocaust denier because he writes books about the German Reich and about German history. But they went after him and basically destroyed his career, and he explains that in some countries around Europe, I mean, when you're talking about freedom of speech, it's illegal, and you can be imprisoned in Germany if you say the Holocaust didn't happen or you even question the veracity of it. You're not allowed to question it. And he says that, and I've even thought, why would you need laws like that to protect a truth? I mean, the truth should always stand up on its own.
Well, surely you're allowed your opinion.
But you're not in Germany, in France you're not, in Switzerland you're not, in Canada you're not. In the UK you're not. If you say the Holocaust didn't happen in any of those countries, you can go to jail. That's a fact.
But isn't that gas? Doesn't that tell you something in itself? That you can't have your own opinion and turn around, and if that is your opinion, then you can't have that, and you're going to jail. So what are you hiding? What are you afraid of?
Well, he got a $22,000 fine in Germany, 22 Deutschmark fine. Sorry, 22,000 Deutschmarks for a statement he made, and the statement he made was that the gas chambers in Auschwitz were built after the war by the Polish government, and it's an offence in Germany to say that, but the fact of the matter is it happens to be true. The Polish government have admitted this, that the gas chamber that's shown to the tourists in Auschwitz is a reconstruction. So it's a fake. That's the way he looks at it,
If you cannot critique or comment on something that goes against the narrative, then something is going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've protected that truth. I'm not saying 6 million Jews didn't die in the Second World War. I don't know. I wasn't bloody there. But if you're in Germany and you say it never happened, or you question the validity of the claims by the Jewish community about it happening, you can go to jail. That's a fact.
And that's that says something in itself, that you can't have your free will or your freedom of expression and your opinion.
Well, as you've pointed out yourself before, and I've said before, if you want to know who rules over you, see who it is you're not allowed to criticise.
Exactly, yeah, that's it, and this is it, and this is the problem. The whole freedom of speech and political correctness is the other thing, and that's tied into freedom of speech. Now, the political correctness thing is another way to stop free speech. Oh, you can't say that. That's very politically incorrect. So you stopped saying things because this is what people are saying.
Well, you're not allowed to. I mean, I can't even say immigration is destroying our country, because then you're being accused of being anti-immigrant. I'm not anti-immigrant. But I am is anti-destruction of our country. There's a difference. I mean, we've seen the budget there today. Absolutely nothing in it for anybody. I mean, there's plenty in it for landlords. All right, if you're a landlord, it was an absolutely giveaway budget today for them.
I actually didn't. I just don't care, Mick.
Yeah, well, it just
the budget
to be on
is the budget is. There's nothing we can do about it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So You know, I mean, my hands are tied. I can't do anything about it. So why am I bothered about it? You know, if the petrol goes up and the food goes up, and no, they probably will attack the fags and the drink as
Well,
usual.
they did. They did 50 cent on the cigarettes as per usual every year. I'm not sure about the drink now. I don't think they touch the drink. I don't know. But I'm not a drinker anyway, so that doesn't affect me.
Yeah,
you know?
that doesn't bother me. The petrol obviously would bother me.
Petrol, that's the only grievance now I'd have. But I'm not sure even if they put the petrol up, to be honest.
But they gave themselves the other week €1,000 increase in the salary.
Oh, but they need that, Steve.
Alan,
sorry, they need that.
Yeah, of course they do, because they're poor politicians.
Yeah, I was only on their website today, on the Oireachtas website. I think they're on 93,000 a year now, a TD.
Yeah.
You know,
And what do they do? Nothing.
Well, I don't know what they do, but they certainly don't. They certainly don't deliver sweat equity to the value of 93 grand a year.
Well, that's a lot. That's good money for filling holes in roads, because that's all they do.
Now, I know a few paramedics who deserve to earn 93 grand a year. I know a few nurses who deserve to earn 93 grand a year, but I don't know any politicians who are worth that kind of money.
No, definitely not. And this is the thing. At least Trump is doing something, and he's exposing the deep state over there, which is great. But we don't have. I mean, look what happened, Gemma O'Doherty. She wanted to run for the president, and the county councils closed her down.
Well, I say now. I mean, that was absolutely disgusting. I mean, Gemma, fair play to us, running on an anti-corruption docket. Anybody that's running on that kind of a docket has got no chance. No council's going to back them, because there's too many vested interests to allow her to go ahead. And I mean, if Gemma Doherty had gotten in there, now I'd love to interview Gemma. I think she's a wonderful girl, particularly in our endeavours to expose what happened to Mary Boyle in Donegal many years ago. But if someone like Gemma got into a position like that, she'd rock the boat big time for them. I mean, I don't know if she'd have the power as president to roll back the likes of the eviction bill and the water services bill and then the other unjust bill that was foisted upon this country. I don't know if she'd have that power, but if she did, there's no way would they allow her in that house.
Now, what I think might happen, Mick, because I know you're coming up to your time there.
I am, yeah.
I will leave on a positive note. The Fulcrum files are files that are presented to people like CEOs and bankers and politicians, and the Fulcrum files are files that contain all the dirty little secrets, and the Fulcrum files are global. Now, America has to be drained first, because America controls the petrodollar and everything else. Everything stems from there. Yeah. So America has to be done first. But I confirmed with Thomas Williams from the THI show, who's involved with the foundation, and he's got an inside track to what's going on. He said the Fulcrum files are global, which means that our politicians, there's all records and files. They're all on file, and any politician, Irish politician, or anybody who's in the judicial system, or anybody who's anyway corrupt or dodgy, there's no point shredding the paperwork. They have the files already. Yeah. They know what you've done, and it's only a matter of time that them Fulcrum files are going to be coming over to Ireland. And they'll be taken down. And I know the arrogance of these people will just say, well, I don't believe that and don't believe that. Well, go and check America and see what happened, because it's happening over there now as we speak.
Right, well listen, Al, I've come to the end of the show, as you just mentioned there yourself. You're going to be appearing at the Open Minds Ireland Conference on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th of November next, down in Dooley's Hotel in Waterford. Should be a great weekend, Alan. Yourself and Steve are up doing a talk on the fluid belief system, which people really do need to hear about, and hopefully some people will walk away with a new way of thinking after seeing yourself and Steve on stage. But listen, Alan, thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I shall talk to you very soon.
No problem, Mick. Thanks for having me. Take care of yourself.
And you, Steve. Take care of yourself. Talk to you very soon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was Alan James from Open Your Mind Ireland. Absolute gentleman of a bloke. As I said, he's going to be appearing at Dooley's Hotel on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th. I think Alan and Steve are going to be there on the 3rd, which will be the Saturday. They're going to be there that afternoon or that morning. I'm not sure. But you can check the schedule. You can go to the OMIC2.com, Open Your Minds Ireland. If you just Google that, you'll find them, and you can get you can go on to Eventbrite as well, and tickets are available on that. It's not sold out yet, and I'm sure you'll be able to get a room down in Waterford. Anyway, folks, this has been The World You Don't Know. Remember, folks, the world is full of great people. If you can't find one, be one. Until next time, be good.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
Breaking humanity, one soul at a This is the World You Don't Know radio show with your host, Nick O'Connor.